And then he was like, this is based on an article from an interview in 19 whatever. And I was like, oh, so it's like technically true.
Not even a real year.
Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of Pointless Discourse with myself, Hoppocalypse, and Itisdpayne.
Oh man, I was like trying to figure out a chant to do, but the fun fact, the chants in the show are very strange.
Okay.
My brain was like trying to think of one of the chants or any chant, and the only thing that popped in my head was the Jackie Chan animated show that I only hear people talk about every once in a while.
I do remember watching that show a lot, but I don't remember anything from it.
I remember there was talismans I had to collect that like kind of boosted natural abilities.
And it was like related to the Zodiac.
Yeah, well, it was the Zodiac.
Okay.
Mostly.
Well, because there was also Jake Long, Dragon Warrior.
Oh yeah, that was on Disney.
Yeah.
Right?
So
yeah.
I was making sure I didn't mix up those two.
The only thing I remember about that dragon show was he apparently was in like dragon trials, and they're like, this Cyclops can throw a boulder at 100 miles per hour, and you have to survive getting hit. And he's like, what? And the whole thing is like, oh, well, he actually flew 99 miles per hour, and he touched it, which is why he went off course and did complete the challenge, but didn't die. And it's like, okay. But yeah, the Jackie Chan one is like, who would find me Sal? But it's like the old man just keeps chanting it over and over and like holds up a blowfish and everything turns green. Yeah, so you may assume the chant Gideon was dictating to summon Bill's cipher was in ancient words. Interestingly enough, if you listen to it reverse, you hear the words backward message, backward message. If this is unbelievable to you, listen to it reversing yourself.
We did kind of talk on that.
Yeah, it would have been good on the actual number.
The Weird Mageddon episodes.
Weird Mageddon is the end.
Oh, shoot, you're right. What is the episodes parts between the seasons?
Gotta click back a bunch.
Season 1.
Okay, season 1, Dreamscapers.
Dreamscapers.
Yep. And it's I don't remember. We did look into it. It's
yeah, one of the transcripts they tell you what it is, and I couldn't remember if it was Dreamscapers or Gideon Rises.
I think it's the one in here. Let's see. I just gotta scroll down. Gideon. Wow. Yeah. No. Like it's a different chant. There's multiple chants that's in there, but yeah, like as I see that, I can look at it and it just says backward message.
Okay, it doesn't have the full, if you don't believe.
The one before that he says is triangle entangled lord of minds, come to the door, all seeing one, come to the door. And then, where's the one that Dipper says? Yeah, where it's, Magnus Ormentum, Magazim ad honum. Yeah, so it's, yeah, there's a couple different chants.
Just a couple.
I don't know. There's also the chance that like I do in my Call of Cthulhu games where it is literal, whatever it's called, Latin, where I just went into Google and typed in what I wanted them to say. And I had to, on the recording, I think when I get to there and I'm like, I just want to, like, because I say at the end of one episode and then in the next episode, like I start off like, everyone, I just want you to know, I made up that chant. So if it does accidentally summon anything, cool.
I'm not responsible. I'm not liable for anything that crawls out of the earth.
Yeah. There was a meme I saw where it was just like Latin. It's cool, like used to worship the Lord, also a super metal language that sounds like you're summoning demons.
It really does.
Yeah. So, I guess we do have a little bit of announcement stuff.
Yeah. Go for it.
Yeah. So, Charity Palooza. We mentioned it last episode, but if this is your first episode, Charity Palooza will be happening on July 22nd. And some people might be like, what is that? Well, I'm glad you asked or didn't ask or said, well, not again. In short, excuse me, the Charity Palooza is a charity stream I do every year on my Twitch channel. The link is in all the descriptions and bios on whatever listening or watching platform you guys are on. And we raise the money for One Up on Cancer, who is a whole charity, John, that's probably shouldn't use John. Anyway, a whole charity, nonprofit focused on helping adults that are dealing with cancer to help pretty much allow them to focus on anything but where that payment's coming from. This is my 5th year raising money for them. And so, this year we're playing Call of Cthulhu. At this moment, Hop is undetermined we're not. I don't know if that's the right word.
Cannot commit time yet.
Yeah, she is figuring out schedule, but that's all good because she did agree to be part of one of the milestone unlocks. I was thinking last year, I was like, I only did like unlocks for like the games of stuff that would happen in there.
Yeah, like changing dice, giving nat 20s or nat 1s.
Yeah, which I think I'm still going to do. But I also did milestone things because I think a lot of people also like seeing different milestones. Mm-hmm. So I tried to make them as easy as possible. The first one, I don't know. I'm still trying to figure out because I'm like, I want to play a horror game. And I don't know if I want it to be the new Amnesia game that came out or Visage. I don't know what is more interesting to people. So, I don't know. That one hasn't been set in stone. However, at 500 is something that we talked about many a times on this podcast. It's the Pointless Discourse book special. What do they call the Scholastic Book Fair? Oh, that's what we should call it. The Pointless Discourse Book Fair.
What did they call the Scholastic Book Fair? Oh, that.
I'm renaming the book fair. There we go. Where we will talk about. That's not how I spell fair. Whatever.
You could put an E on the end. I think some iterations of the Scholastic Book Fair had the E on the end of fair.
I just wrote something that looked like fair. I'll let Google fix it later. So yeah, we're doing that. We'll figure out kind of what that will look like. I guess forewarning, depending on where we're at in our reading schedules, some of the stuff might be sad.
More than likely from my end.
I don't know if I'm reading another one. Well, she doesn't have her 3rd book out yet, so who knows? But yeah, when that gets hit, we will come out with more information of what that will look like. But it will be an extra ep, I think, from what we were talking about.
A whole ep.
At $750, I definitely stole this from the archives of the Pointless Discourse things because I'm like, I want to do this. I will just say, Hop, if you would want to join, I will not be opposed, but it is totally up to you. I'm stealing the flavored milk ranking stream.
Yeah, go for it.
Yeah, I don't.
What flavors have you found?
None.
Okay.
I wrote it down yesterday, and I'm like, I'm gonna do this. And then yesterday I had like inspiration for like writing all these things. So yeah, I'll figure that out later of what that will look like. And then at 1,000, it's always like one of these bigger projects that I like to do that seems fun. And one of the things I've been doing on my own personal YouTube is tabletop role-playing games, or as some people who aren't in that world, D&D, but it's not D&D. I do almost everything but D&D nowadays. There was a system in a world that I wanted to dip my toes into, and I'm like, you know what? If we hit $1,000, I will purchase and find a cast for The One Ring, which is the Lord of the Rings tabletop RPG. And so I was like, I want to play this, but yeah, so $1,000 will do that. And then I have one of two stretch goals written because I don't know what I will write if we hit 2,000. But if we hit 1,500, I will go and find a cast and of a couple people and voice act the Night in the Woods.
Fun.
So,
what number playthrough will that be for you?
4 or 5, right around there. This is, some people go and play or watch movies over and over. I play Night in the Woods way too many times, so I don't feel bad about it. But yeah, so I don't know if this is your first time, if this is like you've only listened to the podcast and never came to anything else. Charity Palooza is a fun thing that I think it's fun, and a lot of people come and just have fun all around. It's, I don't know, it's evolved over the years. So
yeah, what year is this that you're running it?
This is the 5th year.
Wow.
I almost said 2023. So yeah, and I don't know. I think I explained in the episode before this the reasoning behind it, why this and why we're focusing on this, and I know I've done it in past Pointless Discourse episodes, but we are a little, well, I am the one causing the time crunch today.
A plot twist. It's not usually you.
Yeah, normally no one wants to hang out with me. I just want to say this game better be amazing because I got my dates mixed up and I'm missing niece time. And now I only get niece time every other week. So it's like,
this better be worth it.
Yeah. This better be well planned.
You're going to have to walk in to that call and be like, if I do not have a fantastic time, I am holding it over all of your heads.
Yeah.
My niece is going to cry if it's not a good time.
My brother texted me yesterday. He's like, do you want to go watch Elemental? I'm like, yes, but I
am busy.
I misread the schedules. And so, yeah.
Unfortunate.
So like I told him, like, hey, if it ends at somewhat of a decent time, I'll text you. Maybe I can come over for a little bit. And he's like, okay. And so
if she's still awake and all that.
Yeah, me and Knight were kind of internally in our heads wondering, thinking that it might end a little bit earlier because it's starting at 12. Mm-hmm. So so it's ending around then, but there's like people from the UK that are playing, and we're like, are we really, like, 6 o'clock for us is
11 for them.
Yeah, so like are they willing to, like, how long are they willing to go for? Mm-hmm. And it's one of those things that I noticed was ignored or just wasn't understood, but I'm like, look, if we're worried about time, we can start at a later era. And it's like we get like we still get the cities, we still get, like, we get most of the stuff, but it's like from what some of the things that people were talking about of like what they wanted to do in there, I'm like, do you understand getting to the literal last part of that to get the giant robots does take multiple hours.
And this is Civ?
Yeah.
Okay, 6. Yeah.
So, I don't know. I'm trying to be nice because it's like I'm not the one planning it.
But the planner in you is like,
Yeah, because like I'm reading, like I'm seeing like other people's concerns and all this stuff, and I'm like, okay, well, like in my head, I'm like, it's different from just playing a game with your friends, and then playing a game like with a group of streamers, because it's like, especially when like, yeah, it'd be nice if we could finish this all in one go, and I'm like, guy, I don't know how long you're planning on staying on.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's a lot of energy to give, because yeah, when you're playing with your friends, it's totally fine for you to just sit there quietly for 3 hours and like just take your turns.
Yep.
Versus having to also think of an audience.
Yeah, well, I hope they're ready, because I will also be doing my laundry during this. So I'm just like, y'all, you're gonna have to wait a second. I'm gonna go grab my laundry. I might be missing niece time, but I can't go a week without watching these stupid work clips. But, yeah. Anyway, I guess I should roll a die.
Yes. So if you haven't caught on yet, we are still in our we're still in our Gravity Falls watch through. So I'm gonna roll my dice.
I'm not looking at your screen, but I am looking forward. I have rolled a 13. What the dump? I gotta go first again. I was cooking.
Not me.
I was cooking a breakfast while I was watching this. Watching.
This episode is not too lore heavy, so that's fine.
The tone that you said this episode, I was expecting to say this episode is sponsored by.
If only.
Squaresoft.
Wow, where are you at? Oh.
A company that doesn't exist anymore. Wawa would be fun to be sponsored by. Hey.
We just have Wawa cups and sipping on various things.
I'd do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Would not be a hidden product placement at all. It would be...
Oh, yeah. I will fully say, hey, guys.
Just pretend this is a Wawa cup. It could be you one day, Wawa.
Yeah. Hey, guys, by the way, June 19th, Hoagie Fest, real. I saw the sign.
I always
and
forget
it opened
when
up
Hoagie
my
Fest
eyes.
is. Yeah, I always forget when Hoagie Fest is until it's Hoagie Fest.
Yeah, it's and it also feels like sometimes there's multiple Hoagie Fests. Like, it's like, wait, didn't we already have a Hoagie Fest?
I know, I feel like there's one in
Fest?
like the fall now. And I'm like, no, that's a summer thing. Why am I getting hoagies for the beach when it's Thanksgiving? But then I realize it's because the gobbler.
Oh, yeah.
So it could be that. But I could also be imagining things because time isn't real anymore.
Yeah, it's all gotten a little funky when we just like, what time is the things? What is today? I hear people say like, I don't know. I don't feel personally that way too much because it's like I feel like when COVID happened, and I said this multiple times, my personal life didn't really change that much because I live alone. I still had to go into work. Like all these other things, it's just I have to deal with a lot more like people that are way more angry. So, but yeah. But anyway, so yeah, we open up to an episode where we expect I forgot his name, Riker to walk up and say, "Have you ever thought of a clown coming through your TV in the middle of a nose?
Have you ridden a bike through a graveyard? Yeah. How tall would you have to be to not be desirable? How much could a homeless man pay you? For what? Cuts.
Not enough.
Would you ever have a first date at the...
Sure. I'll take a first date.
I love the edits where it's like when you run out of questions when you meet somebody.
I think I saw like that. It's the same video, but it's like it's always people like it's always like the caption changes like when the DM runs out of ideas to set the
scenario up
or like the session. Streamers when they run out of things to say. There's a couple.
The other ones I've seen are like when coworkers ask you questions and you want to not answer their questions, so you ask them something like.
Oh man, yeah, it's like when you don't want to talk about yourself at the family dinner.
Yeah, man. But
How many episodes of that show are there? What is it?
There's quite a few. I think I was watching them on like YouTube or whatever, but I don't know. It's actually really funny when it comes to shows like that. I actually get like, like the weird sensations, like the skin crawlies and stuff watching it, because I think in the back of my head I'm like, what if this thing is true? But then I have to remind myself that a lot of these are so dramatized where it's like true because of a story they heard once and then they filled in all these gaps. Because there was one about a plane that was flying itself and the guy was like, would you believe it's true? Because it is. And I was like, yeah, how true is it?
I watched JJ the Jet Plane. I know planes can fly themselves.
And then he was like, this is based on an article from an interview in 19 whatever. And I was like, oh, so it's like technically true.
Not even a real year.
But then I can watch like most horror films and just be like, what happens next? I need to know. Versus these shows.
You choke on your spit?
Yeah. I realize I don't have water, so we're just gonna do our best here.
If you want to go grab some real quick, I can vamp.
Vamp?
Yeah. I will fill airspace.
I'll be fine.
I did when you disconnected.
Yes. You're the one doing all the talking today, so take it away.
Oh, no. Anyway, so yeah, we kind of have that same setting where Stan, like, comes out, like, from, like, just some random spot. He's like, why, hello there, traveler. And kind of just, I don't know what would be worse, having Stan Pines come out and just saying, I will say, this whole episode definitely puts Stan in a darker light, and we'll get to that at the end.
I like the perspective it's animated in, though, where it does feel like, I mean, the purpose of the animation is to make you feel like you're in first person, and it does. Yeah.
And it's I don't know, it's a little bit different than some of the other stuff, where it's like Stan's talking to us directly. Stan is actually Deadpool, because he can break the fourth wall. Anyway.
As much as he wants, constantly.
Yeah. It's like, and then it really makes you question, who is stronger, Stan or Bill? Bill.
Who also breaks the fourth wall plenty.
Yeah, he is the fourth wall. That'd be fun. I think I saw a comic once where everyone's just like, they're going to break the fourth wall, and then it's like, it pulls out, and it just shows the wall that's not shown in the comic panel, like, crying, just like, not again. Oh, man. Why is the episodes where, like, I know that me personally have to end at a certain time, I ramble longer? Anyway, Stan, like, says, like, a very ominous, creepy thing. It was like, so please don't remote, no one can hear your screams. And, like, the traveler, the camera backs away, and he's like, nah, okay, just pretend I didn't say that. Hey, here's Tales, this is more Tales designed to sell my merchandise. And then it's, like, pops up in red text, just... Tales designed to sell my merchandise, as he starts cackling. And then we get the theme song. And then from there, and so, like, the whole time he's trying to, like, sell us different things. Like, the first part is, like, yeah, some, like, scanning thing. Like, yeah,
it's like, the goo monster with all the mouths.
Right? I'll admit. I think that's when I was trying to get my laptop set up, and it wasn't full, like, it was playing the episode, and oh yeah, there we go, just a lump of random body parts that are groaning, and yeah, that's what it is. So as I said earlier, I watched the episode kind of while cooking. So I heard everything. I might not have visually saw everything. So
yeah, it's got too many orifices.
Yeah, I just saw that line. I'm like, some of these things, I'm like, how did they get this past Disney? And so he's like, pretty much, he pulls out this disembodied hand. And he's like, what, is this hand too expensive for you? Well, it's quite a tale. It's called Hands Off. No, seriously, hands off. And, yeah, so it cuts, it has like a title screen of saying hands off. And we are now with the Pines walking through kind of like a... not a thrift market, a kind of like just, I know it's also not a farmer's flea market. There we go.
Yes.
I'm like, what is the word? It literally says swap meet. But anyway, and Mabel's literally yelling swap meet.
Whoopsies.
Yeah, I'm also seeing meat 3 times in a row, and I was like, is that how you spell meat? But anyway,
you see a word too often and it stops looking real.
And anytime I attempt to spell, but yeah, she's having a grand old time. She finds bobbleheads, dippers, like, professor glasses. He's like, they make me look like a genius, and proceeds to crash into all the glasses. As Stan is like looking at all these different watches and like, wow, mob boss quality. So he pretty much starts bragging to the twins how he's going to be like, watch this, and then proceeds to, as some people would call, get a nat 1 on sales. Hey, hag face, how much for the junk watches? Because if you're trying to get one.
Probably not the way to go about it now.
At least paying for it, because he's like, as the hand witch apparently knows who Stan Pines goes, he's like, not for you. The hand whispers your name, and as Tyler Keybiker looks at all his wind chimes, like, shh, you guys, and oh man, what a treat. But anyway, and Stan's like, fine, whatever, and like he like puts down money. Has on top of the watches, and the seller, the hand witch, is just like, get your hands on my watch, and freaks out, and Stan's like, okay, rightfully so. Like, begins to walk away, as they're like, wow, okay, someone needs to work on their social skills. And Stan's like, yeah, and their observation skills, as he just shows a watch just sitting on top of his suit blazer jacket thing. For me, by the way, for that style of watch, I would probably do the same thing. I like wearing watches, but I need to get watches that are not like chain links, because I am quite hairy.
Gets caught.
Yes. So I have to buy cheap looking watches or fabric watches, so with bands, so that way I can keep my arm hair.
Hey, you could just have, I have watch now, you would just have this whole section around your wrist, hair free, maybe just shave there to get
I don't know if it's going to show up on camera, but there is a tan line. You can see. Not on purpose. It's one of those things I noticed the other day, because I'm like trying to walk more, and it's like, and well, like I've been doing that for a while, but now the sun's out, and I'm like, I was looking in I almost said the refrigerator, which I do, but the mirror's not in there. I was looking in the mirror in the bathroom, and I'm like, whoa, my face has color. It's mainly a light shade of red, but it's there. Oh, I'm an adventurer. Anyway, I don't think it shows up very well on camera, because the pale whiteness of my neck right here, because I do not walk around shirtless. I do care for the world, and there's some things that shouldn't be seen. But anyway, so Stan stole the watch, and they're like, are you sure? It sounds like she was cursing you. And he's like, shut up. No, he's like, what? And it's like, you're sounding like, Stan's like, what? You sound like a curse. And he's like, hey, does anyone want to buy a wet blanket? We got a wet blanket for sale. As Dipper's like, oh, and everyone starts laughing at Dipper, as we cut to Toby, determined, as he's like, it's trying to sell a wet blanket. He has a wet blanket booth, and he's like, I can't survive in this market. And so
he really picks the worst things to say and do every time he shows up.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of what, you know what, a wet blanket, if it's a nice, cool wet blanket, would be nice on a hot summer day.
I mean, wet blanket, depending, the fabric for the blanket can be nice if it's, like, steamed.
True. Mm-hmm. But the way he was selling them,
no, that was just a pile of lukewarm, soggy blankets.
Yeah, it looked like the blankets were sweating, which they were probably cursed. So anyway, we kind of go forward as Stan's like, haha, silly people, curses. And he's like, as he looks in the mirror, it's the next day at least I think it's imposed it's the next day. And he's like, he looks in the mirror. He's like, is this curse ugly or is this normal ugly? And then he's like, okay, guess got scot free. As he holds up his arms and he has no hands. As he cut and kind of freaks out a little bit as he wears oven mitts to hide his now. Oh man, this is the problem with reading a lot of old books, and I'm like, deformity, that's an okay word, right? I guess in this case, sometimes you read terminology in old books and it's like the word that pops in my head and I'm like, did that age well?
I think that's fine.
Yeah, which I guess in this case it's not like anyway. His oven mitts fall out as the twins see his unhand arms. Which is just like purple globby cutouts.
It's like glowing
pink.
Mm-hmm.
And so they're freaking out, and he's like, so I might have got a little cursed, but the watch looks nice, right? And they're just like, as the hand witch like talks through the watch, is like, foolish man, thieving hands for mine wicked face, and you must return what isn't yours. As he puts the oven mitt back on his hands, like, yeah, okay, that's better. And so Dipper's pretty much like, yo, Stan, you better bring that back. And he's like, why? For taking cheap garbage? I got some self-respect, as he pretty much catapults a piece of bacon on his face. I will say, when this scene happened, I was cooking bacon. And that's when he's like, hey, Mabel, can you make me some hands? And she's like, all about it. And pretty much makes him... just some, was it cups, Dixie cups with forks.
Yeah.
And see, pats her head. It's like, good job, as the forks get tangled in her hair and gives her a whole new hairstyle for a little bit. Waves at Lazy Susan, where she just freaks out and screams.
Rightfully so.
Yeah. And then then we're at a bowling alley where he tries to throw the ball, but trips the woman behind him.
I think because he lets go, because he can't hold the bowling ball.
Yeah, I saw the end of this where he threw the bowling ball, crashes through a TV, as a dude's just like, what the? But we have that, and then a character named Jimmy, who I think this is his only...
his only show appearance, yeah.
Yeah, he's like, hey, Mr. Pines, would you like to play? Toss me a dozen eggs like we always do. He's like, no, Jimmy, not today.
Just gets pelted by eggs because he can't catch any of them.
If this was just the whole episode, I could see that going into slow-mo and then playing like Anna Maria. Just, oh, Marie.
They already did that with the puppets.
And they can do it again.
It.
No, all slow-mo should be using that song. Any slow-mo with gravity. I did forget that was in there until I'm like, wait, as I was saying, like, isn't it in another episode? And then you confirmed my query. Sometimes I use words and I'm like, that's the right word, right? Anyway, Stan's like, okay, let's go find the witch, which they find her really quickly. Which apparently they just looked at the swap meet pamphlet and it said where she lived. And so, as Mabel's like, we're in a swap meet pamphlet, the hand witch lives in this horrible hand witch lair on Hand Witch Mountain. And where Stan's like, stop saying hand witch. So, they enter the cave, it's dark, and they're like, Mabel's like, your Uncle Stan, did you just tap my shoulder? And she's like, Stan's like, I can't tap anything, as we see he just has a flashlight taped to his hand, to his nub. And then Dipper starts getting tapped on both his shoulders, and then they turn the light, and it's I think a true horror of millions of hands
crawling everywhere.
Yeah, I don't know what would be worse, spiders or hands. Probably spiders, depending on the spider.
Spiders. Yeah,
hands would be a close second because they're like spiders without mouths. It also
I guess hands is scarier because hands should never be there, whereas spiders are like spiders in a cave.
Depending how big the spider is.
Yeah, that does play into a factor.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. But then again, you could get like a cool hand cylinder like they have in Labyrinth, and they make all the different faces with all the different hands to talk to you. It's looking back at it, it is also quite. Labyrinth could be redone very easily to be a horror movie, which I'm surprised. I don't know. There probably was attempts at it. Oh man, I love that movie though.
I have not seen it.
Oh, it's so good. It's so good. I think I have one of the topics. I'm pretty sure I'm the one that wrote this down, was like creepy children's 80s movies.
The 80s was a Wild West for movies.
Yeah. Oh, there's one in there. I'm like, I think I saw like a preview or someone talk about it. I'm like, oh my goodness, this looks buck wild. I gotta find a way to watch this some point in this discourse. I think it's Return to Oz. That's what it is. And it's
is that the Wizard of Oz, but with like Michael Jackson and all them?
I don't remember.
Or is this an animated Oz?
I don't think it's animated. Let's see.
No tangents. Back to show.
Nope, we're on a tangent now.
Well, when you're late, it's not my problem.
It's okay. It's my problem. Return to Oz. Let's see. Dorothy, saved from a psychiatric experiment by a mysterious girl, somehow is called back to Oz when a vain witch and the Gnome King destroy everything to make the magical land beautiful. That made the magical land beautiful. It's I don't know if Michael Jackson's in it. Here, I can just.
Is it live action?
Yeah. Here, I'll send you the IMDb. Oh, I was very confused because there's.
No, this is a different one. Okay. Because
Yeah.
there is a Wizard of Oz with Michael Jackson, I believe. What's the name of that one?
I don't know. Oh.
The Wiz from 1978 with Diana Ross and Michael Jackson in them.
I will say, more like this, there are 3. There was like 3 other. What did this get rated? 6.7. I don't know ratings, but like I scrolled down to more like this, and I'm like, these 3 of these 4 movies I would put on the weirdest 80s list. Which first one is Labyrinth, the second one is Dark Crystal, the fourth one they put the Wizard of Oz, which is the third one. And I'm like, that wouldn't really fit my form of weird. But then there's Neverending Story.
I was thinking of Neverending Story because I remember as a kid I was watching it and I was like, oh, this seems like fun. Oh my god, the horse.
Yes. Oh man, I forgot what stream I was in and someone was getting stuck in mud and I'm like, man, you're only one horse away from traumatizing a whole generation, and I don't think they got my joke. Yeah, I'm just like clicking through. There's some parts of like oh my goodness, here's an animated movie. When did this come out? Would this fit in? 85. Yeah, The Black Cauldron, a movie that I don't hear anybody talk about, which
Is that
I
the
guess
animated
so.
one?
Yeah.
Okay.
I enjoy it. There was a character, his name is Gurgi, and I only remember him so much because a friend of mine was deathly afraid of Gurgi, and I may have convinced her younger sister to print out a whole bunch of pictures of Gurgi to put it all over her room. To where there was a little bit of excitement in that household that night. But then back in the day, I used to be able to do a decent Gurgi voice, which I think is more like, "Jersey have no friends," which is just like a lower pitch
Golem.
Stitch. Yeah, Golem and Stitch. Yeah. Yeah, it goes from Stitch have no friends to Ohana family, yada yada, give me a gun. So I haven't watched Lilo and Stitch in a while. But anyway.
Why'd you say Jamaican?
I didn't say Jamaican.
Oh, that's what it sounded at the end.
Oh, no, I said, give me a gun.
Oh, give me a gun.
Oh, man. It's interesting seeing, like, the cutout scenes of Lilo and Stitch, because apparently, instead of a spaceship, they were supposed to hijack, like, a giant passenger plane. And,
but
like,
it came
fly
out...
it through. It came out at a very specific time.
in American history.
Yeah. it also was supposed to be flying around a city. But anyway, yeah, so they shine the flashlight, a whole bunch of hands. I don't remember how we got here.
You ask, what's scarier, hands or spiders?
That's right. So what would it be? Just to go into a full loop. But anyway, yeah, so they finally, like, yeah, they said they'd do a bunch of different things where the hands start attacking. I think Stan is, like, being chased by them. Dipper is literally getting beat up by hands as Mabel is playing rock, paper, scissors and loses as they begin to chase her. The hand witch, like, kind of appears like pretty much like an 80s villain, just like, look at this touching scene. Anyway, they're like, okay, yeah, whatever, here's your watch back, and I have my hands. And the hand witch says, alas, your hands cannot be gotten so easily. The spirits say, the curse can only be broken by a kiss.
She puts her hand out.
What? And they're like, all right, kids, just look away and kisses her hand. It's like, on the lips.
I like Dipper's reaction.
It's like, yeah, you're just making stuff up now. But,
did you mention her hand throne?
No, but yes, she pretty much, the hands form together to make a big old chair.
Moving throne.
Yeah. I don't know if it's, I forget the style of chair that's supposed to be good for your back, but it's probably good for your hands.
Maybe not our hands. Her hands, though.
Mm-hmm. So anyway, they were like, pretty much to say, like, okay, this isn't worth it. And she's like, pretty much says, like, look, I live all the way up here, and I was making all this stuff up. It's just really hard to meet people these days. I wasn't expecting a literal TikTok I saw last night of someone complaining about the same thing to show up in the hand witch. So everyone's a hand witch today. So yeah, it's the difference. Like, there's just a ploy to get a date where her response, I'm desperate, okay? And it's like every time I bring someone back here without keeping their hands hostage, they run away. And they very quickly point out this place is even creepier for a cave. And Mabel's like, all right. Mabel's gonna Mabel. She gets excited, grabs a whole bunch of hands, a handelabra, and ooh,
the hands crawl over her.
Yeah, ooh, the hand witch likes. And so yeah, they do a home makeover, and they show it's like definitely brighter, cleaner. There's like actual furniture and carpet and stuff, and they show her off, and he's like, oh, and Mabel's like, even men will definitely tolerate you now, and I left a book of pickup lines on the end table. And she's like, my goodness, I can't believe this is the same cave. I just can't find the words. And it's like, here, how about my hands back, says Stan. And she's like, yeah, sure, whatever. And yeah, shaky and scratchy. I missed you, old rascals. And he's like, yeah, you're all right, sister. And where she's like, will you be my boyfriend now? No. As they're walking, I was like, well, I learned nothing. As the hand witch says, back to my crippling loneliness, as a character just given the amazing name, Man. And he's like, I'm lost in these mountains. Can I crash here for the night? As she picks up the pickup lines book and says, girl with those space pants, because your butt looks out of this world. And it's like, wow, thanks for noticing. And closes there just like, yeah. And now we're back in the mystery shack, and Stan's like, oh, okay, yeah, I understand you don't want the hand. Throws it around as it just crawls off into...
Yeah, it was priced at, what, $500?
I think so.
Yeah.
So he's like, okay, perhaps you're interested in buying something else. As he looks, he's like, this magic pig, as he holds up Waddles. And he's like, maybe you're interested in the story. It's called A Baconings, as the A Baconings title card appears. And we are going to meet one of the an iteration of Waddles that I think was one of Hop's favorites.
It is. I like this part of the episode, but I think we were joking that Waddles is always like just the nice guy until this episode.
Yeah. So pretty much Dipper gets a what the hecahedron. It's a puzzle that he has to solve, and
It's like a Rubik's Cube, but impossible.
Mm-hmm. And like he looks at the back, and there's like a boy holding the puzzle and getting kissed by like a girl in a swimsuit, and he's like, "Wow, that's false advertising. I can get behind." As he like tries to like do this and puts this together, as Mabel on the other side of the room is like, "Ooh, that's a bummer. This is May May and the Hog coming at you in the AM." And Waddles like does his normal pig screech. And as Mabel's like, "Yeah, you can't say that on air. Don't touch those dials, truckers, because the hog just ate it." And makes the honking noise and a fart sound. And his Dipper is starting to get a little bit of noise. And he's like, annoyed as he's trying to solve this. As Mabel just like, "Maybe you're just not smart enough," and kind of he's like, "Just we'll see about that." As we kind of skip over him getting the Persephone room. That increases its brain power. To increase brain power, grind it up and apply it to the forehead overnight. And he does that. And he looks at what the hecahedron, and he's like, "I will own you." as he passes out, as Waddles gets up, eats the rest of the stuff. I will say he put that in like a pestle and mortar. That thing must have been super soft, because I've used pestle and mortar and nothing mushes up that fast.
Mm-mm.
So I could also have the wrong pestle and mortar, but I want to go get a stone one eventually. I was just getting. I have a very cheap one. But anyway, Dipper wakes up. He's like, "I feel smarter already. The digits of pi are 3.1. As Waddles, a machine voice says 415926, etc. And Dipper's like, "What the heck, Mabel?" And Mabel's like, "No, Dipper, look." As Waddles comes in, as it says, a board tied to a monster truck. It is pretty much a pig, an electric wheelchair.
Yeah, where he has his little keyboard to communicate with everybody.
Yeah, and he's like, "Greetings, friends, it is I, Waddles the pig." And confusion goes over, and they're just like, "What the heck is happening?" And he's like, pretty much explains, "Hey, I prepared a presentation," as he bumps into the computer and knocking it over. He's like, "Forgive me, my pig arms are cute and useless." And so Dipper puts it together and realizes that he ate as he calls it, the brain goop. And he's like, "Wait, did you ate and built all this?" As Mabel's like, "This isn't right. The pig goes oink. The pig goes oink." And like at this point, it reminded me of a certain book I know both of us read.
If you're referencing Animal Farm, I've not read Animal Farm.
No, I'm referencing. Oh shoot, we all go up in the stars or whatever.
How High We Go in the Dark.
Yes.
Not close, but I knew what you were saying.
Yeah. I go up in stars at some point in that. So anyway, yeah, so Waddles is pretty much like, now the pig goes wherever he can shine light of knowledge into the darkness of ignorance. And as pretty much it shows that he solved the hecahedron. And Dipper's like, "What?" And he's like, "I can teach you, Dipper." and he's like going into all these things he can teach him. As Gompers is chewing on the pillow, he's like, "Hey, hey," and then he starts yelling at him in pig. As now
screeching.
Yeah, as Dipper's like, "I love new Waddles," and Piffle's like, "Yeah, he's different." As it turns and he shoots a styrofoam rocket at Gompers. As Dipper is definitely like, "This is amazing," and he's like, "We should go invent stuff." And Piffle's like, "Don't you want to stay up and record morning pranks with me?" And Waddles just was like, "I'm sorry, Mabel. There's more to life than making fart noises and laughing at those fart noises. I see that now." And she's like, "Yeah, okay," and then presses fart noise. So we kind of go outside and we kind of have, I feel like, another little mini well, no, not a montage, but Grenda has her kite stuck in a tree. It's like, I hate everything. And Dipper's like, we could be of service. And as she sees Waddles, and he's like, this is a affront against nature. And he's like, forget kites. Here, take this rocket pack I invented and explore the heavens yourself. As Grenda's like, forget that. I'm going to go look at the boys through skylights. And she's like, I rule the skies. So she's flying away. Yeah.
Like, she didn't fly up to the tree. She just launched diagonally into the sky.
Yeah, and I think later, she flies sideways, and Dipper's like, yeah, but that rocket pack we made is amazing. And Wall's like, and don't forget the laser gun I made for Candy, as we hear off screen, death to my enemies. While this is all going on, Mabel is sadly recording herself for the May May and the Hog, as there seems to be a theme as she's coping with crippling loneliness, just like the Hand Witch.
Who would have thought?
Yeah. As she kind of like looks at a picture of Waddles and is not very happy and just misses old Waddles. As Waddles and Dipper finished making this invention, as claimed this could solve every problem of mankind, which I think in every story they try to do that, it doesn't. It usually makes things worse.
Or it gets rid of mankind.
That too. They all turn into Waddles. I was very confused because I saw the line. I'm like, what is this? Yummy, yummy for my fat little pig tummy. And I'm like, what? And then I read the line above it, and it's like, that's when he puts potatoes in his mouth. He's like, because that's the other thing this machine does, and it brings him potatoes. Mabel comes in and is like, what's going on? And they're like, our greatest achievement, the Smarticle accelerator. And Dipper's like all excited and just like, we can do so much. And it's like, we're going to be famous, meeting scientists, presidents. I wonder if I could teach him to wear pants. Dipper's like, can I get Waddles to wear pants? And Mabel's like, the whole world, but when you have time for us, I'm your best friend. And as he gets a mechanical hand to pet her, it just says, I'm still your friend, but I'm helping people now. Where Mabel pretty much is like, you ate the brain gloop and now you're all smart. Don't you remember us? As like he kind of has a quick flashback of like all these different things of hanging out with Mabel. Has a link here. Does it? It has a little song, Remember Those Times, where the lyrics says, remember those times, don't forget those times, just remember to remember those times.
Yeah, at first it starts out cute with him like galloping through a field, and I think the last memory is Grunkle Stan sitting in the middle and Mabel and Waddles on either side just headbutting him back and forth.
As one does.
Mm-hmm.
He's like, it all makes sense now. What good is helping the world if I can't help my favorite person in the world? And it's a good thing I built this dum-dum switch, as he pulls a lever, and Dipper's like, no! And he's like, what? He's like, I'm sorry, Dipper, but for the last 8 seconds of my consciousness, I want you to know that science is a horizon to search for, not a prize to hold in your hands. Also, I miss getting my tummy tickled. As he squeals and jumps into Mabel's arms. As the Smarticle accelerator falls down, Dipper's, no, my invention. And it's Mabel's like, we feel better. Simple hug from a simple pig. And he's like, fine, yeah. As Waddles throws up the what-a-hecahedron. And Dipper's like, yeah, good pig. And we're back in the Mystery Shack. And you're like, you know what, you're right, don't buy the pig. I'm probably better off leaving him with my niece, as an arrow with a suction cup like shoots at him off screen. And so the last thing, let's see, he's like, do you like these spooky movies? These movies are great. Watch a movie scare a girl, the girl snuggles up next to you. The next thing you know, you got to raise a kid. Your life falls apart. Forget that last part. The next thing is called Clay Day.
Yeah, because he pulls out a cassette tape to offer that. Because he pulls it out of, like a junk chest?
Yeah.
It's like this. You'll buy this.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's in the transcript. Walks back over to a chest and pulls out a tape. I'm just curious about something. It'd probably be easier just to look at the general thing rather than the transcript because it's like a quick overview. But anyway, yeah. So pretty much it shows the stands, the Pines all watching, excuse me, a TV movie or something like that, and
that only Mabel loves. Clearly.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Seuss is also there. I was like, was Seuss there? And Stan's like, well, that's 90 minutes closer to my death. He's like, here, why don't you watch a classic from my days? As Mabel, this line made me laugh. He's like, ooh, old people movies. Get ready for references we don't understand some words we can't repeat. So they put in the movies as the Voyages of Loinclothicus begins, and this Loinclothicus yells at off screen to this Cyclops, "You're no match for me. I come for the golden pants," as the camera turns to show a Cyclops, but not just any Cyclops, a claymation Cyclops. As Mabel screams and runs away, and Dipper's like, "Oh no!" And Stan, in the most best thing to say to any child, your sister's broken. And that's when Dipper reveals, like, Mabel has a childhood terror of old-timey stop-motion animation. It's always been one of the things that always scared her. And he's like, how scared could she be, as she cuts to her hiding in the laundry basket up in the attic. And yeah, the Cyclops' face is made nightmares, is what she's like whispering underneath there. And Stan's like, dude, it's just a movie, it can't hurt you. And I'm like, no, what if they wait for you to talk and then crawl inside your mouth? And it's like, and they're like, why'd you have to show her that? And it's like, to be fair, this is the first time Stan's ever known, but whatever. And they find out that Harry Claymore, they find his workplace, and Mabel's still in the laundry basket. Then it's like, all right, we can take you to the director and show that the models are fake. Maybe she'll calm down. And Seuss is like, I don't know, dude. And pretty much Harry Claymore is some kind of recluse. And he's like, he's the man that wants his privacy. I respect that. And he's like, okay. And throws a grappling hook over the fence. Or not a rope.
A rope to be able to climb over his closed off fence.
And
this whole time Seuss is carrying Mabel in a basket because she refuses to to attend.
Mm-hmm. So pretty much like Stan's like trying to voice a reason. I just clay models that move around one frame at a time by an antisocial shut-in. And Seuss is just like, those people are called animators. As though they walk into this place and they're just like, hey, we want to look at your figurines. And Seuss is like, we're not paparazzi, as he begins to just take pictures all over the place. And they find like a mini gorilla figurine. It's like, see, Mabel, it's just all special effects, as it's like the fabric and stuff is starting to tear away. You can see like the metal inside. And Mabel's not having any of it, as Stan's like, look, for the last time, there's nothing to be afraid of, as this shadow is cast over them. As the camera kind of pulls out, and we see a clay motion Cyclops walking behind Stan. And they all scream. And, okay, it says that apparently Stan is holding the basket with Mabel in it.
Oh, I thought it was Seuss the whole time.
That's what I thought, too.
But it is also fan edited, so it could be a bit.
Yeah, so it doesn't matter who's holding it. They kind of drop the laundry basket, as they're like, it's slowly swiping at us, as like it's like slowly
Whoosh.
doing just the
Whoosh, with the hand.
As it's like, let's escape by standing still. As he gets picked up by his eyes, like, it doesn't work. As skeletons pop out and on the ground and grabs Stan, and Dipper begins to run, trips over the basket Mabel's hiding in, tossing both of us out. As a skeleton grabs Mabel, she, I think rightfully so, freaks out, runs, and everyone is captured, as it shows Harry Claymore also tied up. He's like, I'm afraid they want you. And they're like, wait, Harry Claymore, the master of special effects, circa 1970 something? Alas, my effects are more special than you know.
I love that line.
And yeah, so they're just like, wait, what about the stop motion? And he's like, you think anyone would actually want to do that one frame at a time? I'm not a... Oh, man. I always hear this word, but I always have trouble pronouncing it. A masochist. A masochist. Masochist, yes. I read it, and my brain's just like, I am not going to allow you to say this word. But I'm like... Anyway, and he's like, I used black magic to make them animate themselves. It was great at first, but one day, and it kind of goes back, and I find out that computer animation comes out, and it's better. I think the headline says, yeah, better than stop motion. And yeah,
I like the pictures, like a very chunky, like 3D person, and it says it almost looks real.
Yes. Who knew that the metaverse would have been shown this early? I mean, as the Cyclops looks at it, and he's like, well, "No, where's the heart?" But anyway, so Harry says, like, now that they are out of work, they went mad and enslaved me, and will now turn you into unholy beasts to join their mischief. And so and that's when Sue's like, Mr. Pines, at least you get to finally work with your favorite director. And work, I mean suffocate in this giant big clay wad, as they've just shoved clay into Seuss's face. All the while Mabel is up above them looking down. It's like, how can I defeat these monstrosities? As she picks up a wad of clay and then makes a little smiley face. And she's like, hey, I changed something I like. And then she's like, oh, I have an idea. And pretty much calls out the Cyclops. Yeah, the one Iclops. He's like, I'm talking to you. And then runs like almost like alien. Crawls, like jumps into the chest and bursts out at different parts.
Like his shoulder.
Yeah. And then just like gloops his face away. and she's just like, he's like, hey, I have big plans for you. As yeah, the Cyclops is made into Shimmery Twinkleheart.
A big old star.
Yep. Doesn't he say... He's like... yeah, because it's like... they see Mabel riding with... on top of the star, and she's like, dude, you conquered your fears. Shimmery Twinkleheart says, that's right, because she believed in her. He's like, damn it, Twinkleheart, start pounding these skeletons. As he just like plops on top of them as Mabel starts getting everyone in there, and he's just like, Dipper's like, wow, you're not scared anymore? Nope, I'm twice as afraid now. Because now it's rational. As they start taking all the clay off, and they're like, I'm sorry that I doubted you. Stop motion is pure evil. As we see the shadows of the stop motion monsters fighting the shadows. And she's like, this is probably really expensive. And Harry Claymore is just incredibly expensive. It's an impressive fight, though. I'm glad we're facing towards it.
And we only get the shadow remnants.
Yes, we get the shadow stuff. Oh, man. If we had more time, I would have asked, what's your favorite claymation animation? But,
not today, sir. Save that question for the next time we talk.
But claymation won't be part of the conversation. The Evil Dead 2 scene is pretty cool. But anyway, I don't know if that's my favorite. Evil Dead 2 is fun. It shows a face melting off. I lost my spot. Okay, this they melt a massive clay and unicorn rains from this. Okay, anyway, the fight ends, and they're like, that was the best part. And they go back to everyone watching loinclothes in the creature. Okay. They were watching the rest of the thing. It's like, as Dipper's like, yeah, I think we learned that you can remold your fears. And I was like, I'm glad none of us got turned into clay. As it turns to show Seuss, like, holy Toledo, as he walks through a wall of clay and looks very similar to Gumby. And he's like, I can do almost anything, as he just starts like morphing and moving around and runs back and forth.
Walking through walls. As
Stan throws a VCR through Seuss's head. And he's like, we're safe now, kids. We're safe. As we're back into the back in the Mystery Shack, and he's like, okay, I get it. You don't want to buy the pig. You don't want to buy my tapes. What are you going to buy? And he's like, how about this delicious potion? Here, take a free sample. As the person takes a sip and then begins to collapse, and Stan is like, you should have bought my merch when you had the chance, buddy, but that's okay.
Then you do the eyelid closing kind of animation.
Mm-hmm. He's like, I'll have something new for sale very soon. And as we cut to the inside of a display case, as he walks up and he's like, and here's our latest attraction, the legendary cheapskate. As the girl's like, I saw it blinking. And he's like, that's just an optical illusion. As like a woman takes a picture, and he's like, that's right, and starts laughing as the person starts pounding on top of the glass. As he just appears out of nowhere, he's like, that's right, I'm a jerk. Once again, really wonder how that got past Disney. And then the closing is Mabel talking to the Traveler. They call it the Traveler, but as they play tic-tac-toe, excuse me, on the glass.
Because of the dirt left on it.
Yeah, and Mabel's like, hey, I wanted to be X. Let me be X. And Differ's like, just let her be X. And so he sighs, draws an O in the middle space. He's like, yay, and then draws an X, and then, I changed my mind, I want to be O's. So the Traveler begins an X, and he's like, you're going to hate me now, but could I possibly X again? As he starts writing, help me. And he's like,
yeah, because originally Mabel was going to lose, and every time it looked like she was going to lose, she was like, can I actually be the other one?
Mm-hmm. And the Traveler writes, help me on the sign. He's like, I don't think you're playing this right.
Yeah, it's another fun short story episode. I do think I liked this one better than the Bottomless Pit.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I think the Hand Witch is very fun. I like I like the Waddles story a lot, and the claymation is just fun because the different mediums, and it's done really well. I feel like now looking back on it, the Bottomless Pit, the only episode I really remember is the being stuck in the arcade machine.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, my brain died. Yeah, it feels like this one, because of season 1, it feels like they were allowed to do more.
Yeah, like the production of this one is definitely a lot more, and pretty different from the normal episodes, so it stands out a little bit more. But before I ramble about things, let me ask you a couple questions before we fully run out of time. Who was your favorite character this episode?
I saw that John DiMaggio is Harry Claymore.
Uh-oh.
Uh-oh?
Isn't he the one... Or no. John DiMaggio is the good one. Sorry. I was thinking in my head about the guy that voices Blendon Blandon. That's Justin Roiland?
No spoilers. We'll find out that next episode. No, 2 episodes from now.
We already know who voices Blendon Blandon. Blendon Blandon's been in episodes, Steve.
Nope. Not in my book. Time is weird. Now, John DiMaggio is Bender. And
yes.
My favorite thing when people play Final Fantasy X later, he's Waka, and everyone's like, is Waka racist? And it's like, well, how deep do you want to get into that? Favorite character? That's a good question. Yeah, because it's, I don't know, it's just who was good. Everyone's a little funny in this episode. As I'm scrolling to see if I can find a list to remember them all. What was it? There was the character in my head. Oh no, Smart Waddles was funny. Wait, favorite. I was like, which one did you ask? I'm like, my brain all went like...
I went for the easier one.
Yeah, nothing is easy when it comes to this. The Hand Witch made me laugh. We'll put in the Hand Witch.
Okay, I was also going to put it in the Hand Witch.
Give her time. She's just...
Because she's so determined in everything that she's doing that I'm like, yeah, good for you. So then, who would you say you were most like?
The Hand Witch. No. I don't collect hands.
Are your pants from outer space.
Most like this. Oh man, on these shorter episodes, it's a little bit tough because it's like
there's no real big.
Yeah, so it's like
character growth.
So like the id of this character. Who am I? If I use that term correctly. Just trying to remember through everything. I'm not smart like Waddles.
Yeah, you have smart Waddles.
Smart Waddles.
You have devious Grunkle Stan.
Yeah.
Locking people up. You have matchmaker Mabel / lonely Mabel. And heroic Mabel. Mm-hmm. She has like her own arc throughout all three of these stories.
Yeah, she has her own hero's journey.
You have Harry Claymore, who has become a slave to his job.
I know. You were coughing like hint hint.
I mean, also me though. You have Zeus is just there again.
Yeah,
this episode. He's not really.
He's just there. Dipper.
You have
Dipper just
Toby.
kind of was there. Yeah, Toby was sad.
Yeah, Dipper didn't really have a main part. He was hanging out with Waddles, but he didn't really.
He was very much a side character in this whole thing. And the Hand Witch just wanted a friend.
Boyfriend.
I guess if so I feel like I'm gonna say Stan, but I realize like what Stan did this whole episode is not what I do, but when I am GMing, DMing, like whatever, refereeing, whatever form of running a tabletop role-playing game, it is what I do. Of just like,
you play stupid games, you win stupid prizes. Yep. That kind of. I think I'm gonna make myself Harry Claymore, because it's not as extreme, and in the job that I'm in now, it's not as bad. But I did used to work travel every other week, and then people go, "Wow, you did average this year." I was like, "I worked travel during the pandemic, and I did fine." So that's where I'll land that one. I won't open up the whole bag of worms when we have hit our time, Itisdpayne.
Well, like now I'm wondering if I should be Harry Claymore, because the whole reason I didn't watch the episode last night is because I was working on personal projects.
His wasn't personal anymore, though.
Yeah.
He lost control.
I don't know. It's one of those things like I don't think I can fall asleep unless I work on a little bit on this thing. So, but I'll keep it. I'll keep it there because yes, we are at. Now I have like 30 minutes before I go to my next thing. So yeah. Words ending. Cool. Like, comment, subscribe, or whatever.
Thank you. Appreciate.
Eat burgers or not if you're not a burger person. If you're a burger person, you probably not be eating your fellow kind. But hey, I don't know what burger people do. This is awesome me rambling because my body's like, I have to go to the bathroom, and my brain's like, but I want to keep going.
All right, we'll call it here, guys.
Oh, my chair is moving away from the mic.
Your chair said no more.
Thank you everybody for watching or listening. Talk to you later. Bye-bye.